Cognitivism is a psychology of learning which emphasizes human intelligence as a special endowment enabling humans to form hypotheses and develop intellectually. The underlying concept of cognitivism involves how we think and gain knowledge. Cognitivism involves examining, learning, memory, problem-solving skills, and intelligence. We humans have a complex physiological structure that absorbs a variety of stimuli from the environment, which means that through interaction we are able to acquire knowledge and skills. Attention is the first part of cognitive development, and by definition it is a state of focused awareness on a subset of available perceptual information. The key function of attention is to discriminate between irrelevant data and filter it out, enabling the desired data to be distributed to the other mental processes. Jean Piaget, 1936, was the first psychologist to make a systematic study of cognitive development. His contribution included a theory of child cognitive development, detailed observational studies of cognition in children, and a series of simple but ingenious tests to reveal different cognitive abilities.
The cognitivist approach to education sees learning primarily as a mental process, with process being the key word. The focus is not on behavioral development or social engagement, but on building the learner's ability to process information and, according to Burns, solve problems and develop insights. From the cognitivist perspective, learning takes place as the learner develops the ability to perceive meaning within information, to make connections, and to apply this understanding. As Hartley puts it, instead of acquiring habits, learners apply plans and strategies. This is the foundation of cognitive constructivism, wherein knowledge is constructed within the learner's head. Hartley also points out that prior knowledge is important to learning. Cognitivist theory is largely concerned with the processing of information in short-term memory and the transfer of this knowledge to long-term memory. Learning also involves retrieving that stored knowledge to process new information. Kofer notes that meaningful information is easier to remember. Similarly, Hartley believes that lessons should be both well-organized and logically structured to aid in processing and memorization. From the cognitivist perspective, an effective lesson is one whose value is clear to learners and whose delivery is clear and concise.
Piaget considers schemas as hypothetical mental structures for organizing concepts. Accretion, tuning, and reconstructing reorganizes these schemas as the learner engages in new learning experiences. And when a learner is able to use the acquired knowledge in different contexts, then transfer of learning has occurred. Several teaching approaches evolved out of cognitive learning theory. Example, problem-based learning that presents students with an open-ended problem with many solutions and asking them to develop answers. Discovery learning that encourages learners to discover principles by questioning, creating hypotheses, and doing research to develop conclusions. Rich classroom environments are needed to encourage students to explore and construct their own knowledge. Teaching should be tailored to the backgrounds of students. Instructional materials should include examples and demonstrations so students can develop mental models. Bridges should be built from prerequisite skills to the learning objectives. Present the material in an organized and structured manner. Develop new material from what is known. Recognize that students have limited attention span and short-term memory. Provide practice opportunities to allow the new learning to be applied outside of its original context. Help learners adopt appropriate learning strategies.
Piaget's theory of individual cognitive development and Vygotsky's theory of social cognitive growth or zone of proximal development constitute the backbone of cognitivism. These theories bear on the assumptions on how instructions should be structured. According to Piaget, for instructions to be effective, they should be established on student schema, that is, their mental structures. One way to determine students' current schema is to ask them questions while paying attention to their answers and remarks that may give clues about their schemata. For Vygotsky, instruction should be targeted at the far end of the zone of proximal development. Suppose a student can explain the workings of a router with help but views other instructions as too difficult or too easy. We would say that the explanation is within his zone and that this is the level at which instructions will be most effective. Be it Piaget or Vygotsky, cognitivism assumes instructions are organized, new materials are linked to what is currently known, that is, a type of mental scaffolding, the limits of attention are noted, and instructions are authentic and real.
There are a number of criticisms of cognitive theory. One is confusion between developed theories, 2, improper data leading to skewed results, 3, confused concepts, and 4, poor measurement of tools used. Confusion between theories can be seen when constructivism relies on learning as a fundamental principle, while Kelly's construct theory removes it. Improper data or wrong information can lead to wrong results. For example, the learning pyramid, which was accepted in educational writings, could not be verified by investigations. Confusions in concepts is illustrated by Bloom's taxonomy, which does not look at analysis within the learning structure, while Anderson and Croswell in 2001 used it as a basis for creating a new level of learning known as creation. Poor measurement of social interaction affects the theory. For example, a model who is superior may intimidate a subject rather than encourage. Disagreement may be used to encourage learning as well. However, it cannot be measured. These are just some of the criticisms of cognitive theory.